thank you all for coming tonight. And we are being recorded by Westwood. So tonight, we are going to deliberate on the 3 candidates that come forward to the school committee. And we're going to try to match the best candidate with our culture and with the values of the district. So to that end, I'd like to open the conversation to the floor and see what you guys have to say about it.
All right, why don't we try
Cast
to...
of characters.
Well, first, I would say, there's been a lot of people who did a lot of work on this. I want to thank, especially you two, for working so hard on it. I know a lot of the people at the high school and the community members who spent a lot of time on it, and so thank you. I know I didn't spend nearly as much as you guys did, but it's critical to our system. This is our biggest decision. It has the most impact on the school system, and I think it's a credit to everyone volunteered so much time. So what I would suggest is, why don't we streamline this a bit? I think, first of all, the 3 excellent candidates are all very well qualified, but I would narrow it down to 2 quite quickly. If I had preference, I would consider Emily and Alan for discussion. So I think Ms. Kinsella is very talented and so forth, but personally I would not support her as superintendent. I think with respect to Emily and Alan, I think you're both great. I think they both do a great job. I think they both have strengths and weaknesses. I think Emily's strength is clearly at the high school level. She's clearly the best candidate. I think Alan, you know, if you look at the elementary level, he probably has better experience there. In terms of a budget, but you know, so then you have to consider, well, okay, the high school, you know, that is our end product. So, you know, we have to be mindful of that. I think with respect to budgeting, it's probably a draw between the 2 of them. I'm not sure I could really distinguish between the 2 of them on budgeting issues. Alan's done some at his current school. Emily's obviously participated in our budget process over the years. You know, in terms of big issues that we're facing, you know, it's the capital project, the elementary school. I think in that respect, Alan might have an edge on that. I think he's worked on a project over his school system. I think he's probably more gregarious and more of a salesman type than Emily would be, and I think we need that when we build a project. So that's another factor we should consider. But you know, they're both proven entities, and I think you know, Emily is extremely talented. I think she would do an outstanding job. I really do. So I think both of them would do a good job. I wouldn't, you know, be terribly upset if either one of them were at the helm. But I think if you had to, like, you know, match up the strengths and match up the weaknesses, I think you have to give the edge to Emily at the end of the day. And so I'd be open to what the committee thinks on both. But you know, and I know, Charlie, you're going to cite that student report, which I give no credence. Apparently, only 10 teenagers telling us what to do is a good basis. But anyway, that's my preliminary thoughts on all the different issues that we're looking at.
Charlie?
Again, I'd like to thank the search committee. I hope we're going to write them letters and thank for all the work they did to go through all the candidates, and to you two who went through everything. Thanks so much for bringing before us, what I think, 3 excellent people. It was a pleasure to meet them and hear them talk and discuss with us. I agree with Brian that I think Alan and Emily, of the 3 of them, those 2 really stand out. The strengths and weaknesses, I think Brian did a very nice job going through some of the differences. First of all, it's a very complicated school system. You know, I've been very impressed as I even begin to learn just a little bit about it. But between all of the different school items, special needs, I mean, it's a very, very complicated thing that's going on here right now. So one of my concerns is the next superintendent keep it going. And I think Emily has played a large part with John and divisions before us. And I respect John's advice, thinking Emily might be a great fit himself. I respect his advice. But my only concern about Alan is to come in, and he's experienced here, he knows a lot of people, and everyone I've met who knew him likes him a lot. He's a very popular person. But it's still, a lot has happened here, and I'm concerned about that we don't have a blip in the next year while one person's getting to know how to keep things going. So I think Emily, as far as keeping it going, if we like it, and I like it very much what's here, not that we can't improve on it, and there's some things we can improve on, we already know, but I think that's a plus. I think Brian brought up an important point. The next superintendent's gonna have to be a leader in what do we do with 5 old elementary schools and an old middle school. And I think the solution to that, to do it well, is gonna be a lot of community involvement and hearing everybody out. But I remember Emily played a big part in this school's process. I mean, this was the biggest thing the town ever did, really, as a school, and she played a part in following that process from beginning to end. So as far as a big project, in the whole process from beginning to end, I respect Emily's experience in that, but also Brian has experience to explain to us of things that he's done recently too. So I don't think Emily is held back from experience in that, but I also feel there's gonna be an important job for the school committee in that process. I mean, all of us getting out there, not just the superintendent only, so I don't really say we take a hike and the superintendent has to do it. There's gonna be an awful lot of community involvement, community input, and educating people on the pros and cons of all the different options that we have. What I liked about Emily too is the ability she has to collaborate and work with other people. A lot of school systems, the unions don't get along with administration. They fight, and I think Emily has the respect, hears out what the teachers have said, and has had the respect of the unions. I attended some meetings recently with this new idea of a J-term that's come up, and there's a committee of 20 teachers. And to get all the teachers to agree to something innovative, creative, and no new money, the way she worked with the committee, was her idea, but she sat back and let them nurture it. So as far as innovation goes, I have great respect for the things she's done in the past with John, being very supportive, working with her. But, so I just see this innovation. This is a town that, I think we have the best school system. They don't rank school systems on innovation. If they ever did, I think would blow the ball right out of the stadium. But, I really have respected her innovation and people coming to her. I think what I've liked also about her was when you come to her with an idea, she listens. It may explain it's complicated, it's hard to do it this time, but I don't think she's discouraged people from coming forward with ideas. So those are just some of the pluses I see in her that I think, and I think Alan is very good in everything that I've mentioned Emily's good at, but I just think with Emily would have less of a beat, less of a time to catch up, and I think she would spring off ahead with a lot of great things for the system, which I support. So I like Alan. If the committee as a majority wants him, but I think Emily is my best candidate.
So I'd like to just echo, actually, I'd first like to echo what everyone else has said. Thank you. I don't know who's all here from the committee, but Deb, Allison, Carolyn Casey, Robert Walsh, Jeff Silver, the police chief, Craig Foscalda, and Kendra Lawson, of course, these two for the search. So I'd like to thank, it was a lot of work. It's maybe a lot of long nights, but I'd like to thank the committee for this work. So first thing I'd like to say is, Scott, we had an outside consultant come in and kind of do a lot of work, a lot of focus groups, and thinking about what our values were and what our competencies were that we wanted in the next superintendent. And the 4 values that they identified based on all the community input was openness, conviction and beliefs, honesty and humility. And I think it's actually all 3 candidates have those values, which I think, I don't think people appreciate how hard it is to get a good slate of candidates. We had an outstanding slate of candidates, which is a testament to Westwood and to, I think, the committee. They all reflect, I think, the values that we want. And I guess I think the 2 people above and beyond were Alan and Emily. So to kind of cut to the chase, I'm just going to build upon what the other 2 said. I'm a bit of an HR geek, I know, from my professional background. So we actually developed 4 competencies, of actually what we wanted in the next superintendent. So when I woke up at 4 this morning, wondering who I was going to vote for, I actually did reflect a bit on the competencies. And the 4 competencies were, first one was about strong manager and educational leader. And actually, honestly, I think both Alan and Emily have different strengths in this. I think Emily is extremely strong from an education and curriculum perspective. I think Alan's actually led a been head of a district, which I think has some value. So I think that's probably an equal. The second one was around communication, ability to maintain strong relationships. I think reflecting the views, and I'd love to have some discussion around this. I think my reflection is I think Emily's extremely strong at building internal relationships. I think I'd like to, going forward, if she would be the next superintendent, we should just help her as a committee. And how does she build kind of relationships with, being in the new role? And I think we should just help support her on that. I think Alan, as a superintendent, is obviously that's I think a strength of his. So I think they both have strong strengths on that one. I think when I then reflected at 4:15 this morning, the final two actually competencies were kind of what made the difference for me. So the third competency was around continuous improvement, and the fourth was around innovation, creativity, and visionary. And as I thought about both candidates and what they demonstrated in their careers, whether it be the J term that Charlie said or everything else, and when I talked to principals, teachers, and so forth in Westwood, they talked about how much Emily's pushed forward and continues to push forward the curriculum, challenges them. Every day is, every year is something more challenging. Bringing in forth ideas from outside. I think back to the J term where we said, well, who else does this at a public school except for, who does this at a public school, not just a private school? And she went to Iowa to find another public school. And that to me was like epitomizing what I want Westwood schools to be. So ultimately, I think the first two competencies were a mesh, but when I think about innovation and pushing forward the curriculum, and quite frankly, pushing forward new ideas on how do we support the whole child, it's, I think for me, it's Emily actually won out on those two.
Wow. Those are hard statements to follow. They were all great statements. And I know you're all thanking both of us, but this one over here to my right there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into this, and really we spent an incredible amount of time. And I appreciate it. And this process was very interesting to me because I think it's amazing that folks can sit publicly and be interviewed and be as poised and as articulate as they were. To have an audience behind you when you're, not to mention the door opening and closing during an interview, that would have been enough for me to exit. But, so I was, we really had three tremendous candidates, and to be, if you could see this process from start to finish as I did, I think you would be as amazed as I was as to what they had to go through to get here. I want to make it clear too that in my mind, I knew that Emily was a strong candidate from the beginning, but I think we all agreed that despite that fact, it was very important that we went out and we did the search to make sure that we got the best possible candidate for what we consider the best district. So we needed to go through this process, and it was a good process. So we have three great candidates, but I have to agree with all of you. Alan is a fabulous candidate, well-liked. I got many emails and texts and so forth supporting him. But I have to say, although he was impressive, as well as Patricia also had her good points, Emily was head and shoulders really above the rest of the group, and I'm talking about everyone that we interviewed. I have interviewed, not as in HR, but interviewed people in my professional career, and I sat in and worked on some of the hiring processes with as a school committee member when we hired various folks some are sitting in here today. And I can tell you that without hesitation, I have never seen anyone with such poise and ability to answer questions thoughtfully, succinctly, and most importantly, substantively. She knows this district. Emily Parks knows this district like no other. And she's fully invested and passionate about it. And that means a lot as the face of the district. So I think that was, she stood out right away, and I think many of us could see the same thing in her final interview here. I know there's been some concern about this external piece, and I agree. I think that if we could take Emily and Alan and put them together, we'd have a super super superintendent, can you say that? But we can't. But I think that her skills that she has really translate. She has these skills that she's used mostly within the schools, but certainly transferable to the external piece. The presentations, we've seen her deliver presentations to the school committee. She's always thoughtful, she's articulate. I've had the benefit of observing her for many years, and you can see how she continues to improve. And I think that she has the temperament and the ability to sell that project. And it's not just about selling, it's about really making people understand not just that we need it, but the benefits and so forth, and really what it's gonna do for our kids to ensure that they continue to have a good education. So in this ever-changing, it really is an ever-changing business, this school, very different from even 7 years ago when I started here. So I would say that someone who's been fully invested for so many years, who better to sell it, right? So I think she has the vision to ensure that we continue on this upward trajectory and deliver the quality of education that our kids deserve. All that to say, I would support Emily in this process.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who was involved in this. The search committee, Carol, the rest of you who showed up for all these extra meetings that we had, and all of the community who came to the focus groups, the teachers, the administrators. Really, this was quite a process. Everybody smiled and went through it, and I truly appreciate it. I learned a lot during the process. Emily is here, and I'm sure people are saying, you went through this whole process and you ended up with the person that you could have hired in December. But we had to do the process because we needed to know how other people were comparing to what we had. And I think that after a thorough look, we can all agree that Emily really does stand head and shoulders over everybody else that we spoke to. And I think that we talked to people in the schools. I mean, the administrative council, I was saying to the rest of the committee, when Emily came in to speak to the administrative council, it was like a celebrity had walked into the room. I mean, they were so happy with her. It was, it was nice to see. And I know she'll do a wonderful job, and I can support her wholeheartedly.
So, can I make a motion?
I'd like a motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion at this time.
Wait, you know what?
Do you have a wording to this?
Damn it. Just make a motion
That's right.
to, yeah.
So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to go into contract negotiations for the purpose of appointing Emily Parks as the next superintendent of Westwood Public Schools.
I do an enthusiastic second.
Do we have any more discussion on it?
None for me.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, so we will, may have a motion, then we're going into executive session, and I thank you all for coming, and,
Motion to,
Go have a drink.
to executive. Motion to the break. Executive session.
Executive session.